Today is Thursday, November the 26th, and of course today is Thanksgiving, so the American markets are closed, and you can see that the McClellan, after double topping up here in the overbought areas, come back down now to the overbought median zone. Could still chatter and do some more to the upside. Look what happened back here before we finally crash down. But let's take a look at some charts, and I'm going to expand it today and show you some new charts that we haven't looked at or some that people in the chat have talked about. Here's the S&P. You see the S&P really did nothing yesterday, very small range, anticipating close today and a partial day tomorrow. But we do have the 50 moving averages, both of them, the EMA and the SMA, on an upward trajectory, and we have been for some time. So that could continue, but it doesn't mean that we can't come back down now and test the cloud sometime in the future. It may take a while to get there. The volatility index is the key thing to look at here, and the volatility index now is down to this area where we have this comfort zone. And when we have that comfort zone, the market does pretty well. Let me see which one shows. Oh, I've got too many of these open. We did have one showing the S&P 500 and the VIX together. Regardless, Apple. Look at Apple. Apple is still below the cloud, stuck in between the 50 EMA and the 8 EMA, but more importantly, look at where the Chiku span is, just under the candles after getting rejection on Tuesday, rejection on Wednesday under the candles. This signifies that the Chiku span could be coming down to take a test here of the 50, and failing that on Monday, it could go lower. So Apple is not a buy right here. I wouldn't think so. And plus, it's struggling to stay above the 78.6%, although we might have the 100% in the wrong area. We probably have to put it here. And then we have a true test of the 78.6. You can see that's where we had resistance. We could be going back down to the 61.8. So here's where the Chiku span tells you a lot. If you're looking to get out of Apple, you do it when the Chiku span loses the cloud. And that would be not much lower than the price is now. That would be just under $114. NIO has been our little star, but yesterday it didn't do too much. Let's take a look at it on the 5-minute, because the 5-minute, you can really see, gosh, I've got just too many of these open. On the 5-minute, you can really see that yesterday, where is our gap? Gosh, I've got to get rid of some of these. I apologize. I wanted to show you that yesterday we were working well within the Fibonacci's. If you draw the Fibonacci for prior day, they're all screwed up. Caterpillar. Anyways, NIO is probably still going up. Caterpillar, look at that. This is the shark pattern that I said, I didn't see a lot of, but it did come down to bounce off of this technical gap here and then moved up. Really a lot of chattering, but in the end, it has succeeded now in almost closing the first target of the shark. So it's likely going up to 181, possibly 189. Home Depot, on the other hand, is running into a bit of problem. Yesterday was a nothing day, staying above the 8 EMA, and the Chiku span is under the 50, in the cloud, under the candles. So not a stock that I would be too interested in there. AT&T, we have above the 50, and the 50 now is starting to trend upwards. So that's a good sign for AT&T. Great dividend stock. I'm glad that I added some below 27 right down here. Gosh, if it gets down to the 50, I think I'll add a little bit more. Just loving the dividend, and it's a long-term hold for me. Let's look at the banks. Look at JP Morgan. The 50 crossed to the 200. This is a bullish sign right back here, and we've had a strong bounce since then. And on the Fibonacci point of view, we're coming up and we're heading towards 128.36. If we take another of the top 5 or top 6 banks, but at the other end of the spectrum, a large regional bank. We have US Bank, also a good dividend, and its 50 is just about to cross the 200, so that's pretty significant to US Bank right there. I haven't taken a look at its Fibonacci. Look at Walmart. Walmart is coming into the Christmas season. Should be an indicator of concern. If it starts going up, people are shopping at Walmart now instead of Amazon or instead of Target, instead of other things. But it looks like it is in a little bit of a bullish flag here. You can almost see the pennant that I haven't drawn, but it should break out to the upside. But draw yourself a pennant, put some alerts there, and take a look at it. Some of the other ones I want to talk about now. Let's take a look at Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat we haven't looked at in a long time. But if you look at this big drop here and set that Fibonacci, we had rejection at the 78.6, came down to the 38.2, now we've had rejection at the 50. And if you're trading Beyond Meat, it's trading according to this Fibonacci, so set your buys and your sells accordingly. CVS is something that some folks have been looking at. CVS is really interesting. I used the auto harmonic tool in Motive Wave, and I found 2 harmonic patterns joined by an alternate ABCD, which I drew manually. It didn't find that one automatically. But look at this pattern. You have X to A, coming down to B, coming up to C, which is a 13% over AX. That's a shark pattern. Now coming down and completing the shark pattern here. And then you have this alternate ABCD, which you can draw with manually with Motive Wave. And it depends where you want to put the B pattern. If you put the B pattern here, then the C pattern has to go there. And then it would only be going this high. So let's take another one. Let's take a look at this one. There's your B. Your C would be here. And look at that. That fits to show that there would be a reverse at that point. If we take that B and that C, that fits as well. That is a perfect hit onto 7703, which would be the start of another potential pattern. And we see this pattern, which is called a butterfly, didn't quite make the top of that butterfly, which would be 78.6. But look at how we came down to the 54 in this acceptable range for a butterfly and a C. CVS, you would say, could be heading up to 80, but you'd want to make sure it doesn't fall below 65.05, just to be confident. The other one we want to look at is SONO. Now, maybe they had earnings this week, and I think they did, but look at this pop on the daily chart. Let's look at it now on an hourly chart, and you can draw this pennant here, and you can see this is a bull pennant pattern, which should break to the upside. So I've set an alert, and as the days go by, it's going to be easier to break out of this pennant, but it should chatter in this pennant until finally there's enough coiling, whether it's going to pop up or down. But if it pops up above that, I've got an alert, and that's a good stock to take a look at. I think I might jump into that stock if it breaks out. And then the last one I want to show you is Square. Square is really interesting because we had this big wave up here, and then we had the pullback to 78.6, a little bit below. So, not perfect from a Fibonacci point of view. So let's play around with it a little bit. Let's see if there's another wave. How about this one here? Well, look at this one. If this was a wave, we had a pullback to 78.6, a little bit below, but a lot of chattering right at that point. And then we didn't quite get to 127.2. So that's not a great fit. Is this a better fit? Could be. I mean, look at that. If we took this as our wave up, we have 78.6. We have a double top here. We have 78.6 here. We have a double top, tried to break out, came back, tested the 78.6 twice, rejected at the 100. So this is a good Fibonacci set. And now that it's broken above 138.2, Square should be expected to move quite rapidly. I had a friend who bought some calls last Monday, December 177.5 or 175s, and he's already made $2,500 on it. He's asking me, what should I do? And we're going to talk about that at the open tomorrow, him and I. But I told him either put on a trailing stop or take your profit, because what was your goal? Was your goal to double your money? Well, you've done that. So don't be a hog and get slaughtered. Take your profit. Or if you want to squeeze out a little bit more, put a trailing stop on it. If you really are convinced it's going up here, then sell the 250 call. Sell the December 250 call. And then add premium, which lowers the cost of your original purchased call. Those are just some of the strategies. So all good. The market is certainly reacting well to the new incoming administration. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving if you're trading on this side of the world. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night.